Raise your horns high and let your spirit flow. It's the classic metal wrap-up show. Feel the rush, let the loudness grow. It's the classic metal wrap-up show.
I'm actually, well, I'm in the Northwest. I'm closer to Portland, Oregon, and Evil can let you know where he's at. He's in Southern Oregon, right?
I'm in the mountains of Southern Oregon, down by Grants Pass.
So there you go. I mean, we're
Where
both
are you
in
at,
the
sir?
Northwest.
Okay. I'm in great state of Florida.
Nice.
Oh, I figured as much.
So
Doing my research on you and the band, I figured that's exactly where you might be.
well, one of the
Yeah,
things,
it's up.
though,
It's only about 40 miles below Georgia, below the
okay,
Georgia state line.
nice.
Okay.
I'm in the sheer wilderness.
Oh, wow,
Cost you
that's nice.
$50 to send me a postcard.
Oh, no kidding. So Greg, we know a little bit about your history and stuff with Southern rock acts, but this band in particular, I think the one thing that caught me is just how groove oriented it is. How long has the band been around? Because I know Evil and I leading up to this, we were just kind of exchanging YouTube videos, and there was one where the band was performing on a cruise, and you guys were doing Train Train, but I thought that was pre or pandemic era performance. So you guys have been around for a little bit.
Yeah, we did that this year on the Rock Legends cruise as well.
Oh, that's what it was? Okay.
Yeah.
But what's the origin of the band? Because we do know some of your history with the Outlaws and some work with Skynyrd and stuff.
I formed the band in 2015. I had ended my days in Blackfoot the December 31st of 2011.
Okay.
So I did a little studio work and, went out these little all-star jams, which was not real gratifying. I just wanted a band again. So I formed Two Wolf. And I had Lance Lopez in at first, but he had a busy schedule already mapped out. So Chris Bell came in. I knew Chris from before then, some years earlier. And then Chris had the same thing. He had shows going on. He was working on a record. And then all of a sudden, I got both of them in the band at the same time. I said, yeah, that's my dream band. That's what I wanted the whole time, both of them. And then we added Rusty Valentine on drums, and that's the lineup still today.
Nice.
Well, that's awesome.
Was I go back to the groove oriented because it sets you guys apart from most classic rock. I think a lot of the classic rock has more twang. I think this is more blues and groove oriented. I mean, tell us about that. Is that by design, or is that just what happened when you guys got together and got knocking out songs and cutting these things?
Yeah, it happened naturally. I spent 24 years with Blackfoot, so I'm used to that hard rock. We weren't your typical Southern rock band. And it just so happened Chris and Lance loved the whole Blackfoot catalog. So instantly, that's the style that we're leaning towards is hard rock, not necessarily Southern rock. Love Southern rock. I know all the bands have worked with, I think, all of them through the years. But it's more of an in-your-face record. It's not for the faint of heart, I would say.
Would you agree that it has some modern elements to it? I mean, it's really punchy.
It's two guitars, bass, and drums. That's it. Old school rock and roll. And Chris and Lance are great vocalists as well as great guitar players, which makes it easier for Rusty and I. We just hold down the bottom end and the groove.
Absolutely.
I don't know if you got anything, Eva.
Go ahead, Ruben. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just wondering. I mean, what's the game plan? I know you mentioned the cruise that you did. I mean, what's the game plan as far as performances and live shows to promote this record?
Yeah, we just did Southern Rock Woodstock up in Charlottesville, Virginia. We've got two more of those to do. One is in, see if I can say it right, Gallipolis, Ohio.
Okay.
It ends with an S, but it's pronounced Z. I've been informed of that. And then we've got another one in October in Maggie Valley, North Carolina. That's for the homeless vets, all three of those. Then we have a show up in Syracuse, New York, September 19th. And then we've got shows coming up beyond October through the end of the year.
Right.
And actually, we'll be back on the cruise next year.
Oh, wow.
That'll be number 13 for me.
Okay.
Do you guys do you have a website or anything they should check this out at?
It's twowolfrocks.com.
Oh, easy.
Nice. As far as the vocal, I mean, it's pretty gravelly. I don't know who is the one that's singing, but are you familiar with Jimmy Barnes?
Yeah. So you out of Texas?
No, he's an Australian guy, and he has this really gravelly kind of bluesy. He's a bluesy singer, but that's what I'm hearing. I mean, I think it's like this, almost like Brian Johnson doing blues or something. I mean, it's really in your face and gravelly.
Yeah. Oh, Brian, yeah. Well, Lance has that deep, smoky, gravelly voice with a lot of power. Chris is a little bit different singer, but that was the beauty of doing this record, how they bounce back and forth off of each other, whoever was singing lead. I got forced into singing too. I'll never do that again. But I wrote them, so I had to sing them. I said, guys, I promise I'll never do that again. One of you guys are going to sing it, not me.
But
I'm a bass player that can do
yeah, I was
backup.
gonna say,
I'm not a
you always
singer.
did some backup.
But Chris and Lance are awesome vocalists.
Well, I was going to say that's what I was enjoying about the band was I enjoy I like Southern rock, but I prefer it a little heavier, a little harder rock, biker type rock, I call it. You know,
Yeah,
so
that's a good way to put it. Yeah,
yeah, it was right. That was right up my alley. The sound you guys were making. I was familiar with Blackfoot, and so you know, it was obvious. And then I was the one that sent the video over to Ruben and showing you guys on the cruise, and you guys were kicking ass, man. So.
yeah. Actually, the opening track, "Keep on Moving," I wrote that when I was in Blackfoot. We never even worked it up to try to play it. That song had been in the vaults for a long time. I played a demo of it for Chris and Lance and Rusty, and they said, we need to cut that track. Yeah. So it came out a lot better than the original demo, I can tell you that. You know, from the opening chord, it's like, bam, it hits you upside the head.
Mm-hmm. As far as with the writing, I mean, I know you brought a lot of this material to the table. How did that all work within the band, and how receptive were you to, you know, some of the suggestions maybe from some of the bandmates to move some stuff around or make any additions, subtractions?
It was effortless. It really was. I mean, it was smooth as silk, I guess you could say. There's no pecking order. You know, we submit songs and we talk about it, we work them up, and then we keep the best and eliminate the others. Maybe we'll rework those another time, because that happens some with material. If you've been in a band long enough, you'll go revisit something from a year before. It could be 10 years before. You know, we need to give that another shot. Let's try it from a different approach. As long as it's rock, that's all we need to hear is it's got to be rock.
Right, right. So you're saying there's probably stuff in the archives for another record or two.
Yeah, we had a few left over, and we're continuously writing on our own individually, and then you know we talk about it over the phone, and when we do rehearsals, we will, you know, play an idea for the other guys, and then if that's worth pursuing, we'll work on it a little bit. And hopefully some of those will be on the next record. We can't wait to start on the next record. Before we finish this one, like the last trip to the studio, we were looking at each other saying, Man, I can't wait to start on the second one.
Oh,
We weren't even
wow.
finished the first one yet.
Right. Nice.
Yeah, a lot of material to choose from.
And Lance is initially solo artist, right? So I guess coordinating with him and trying to line up dates and stuff is probably something that you need to do well in advance, huh?
Yeah, it used to be, 6 to 8 weeks out if you talk to an agent. And anymore, it's like minimum of 90 days out. Preferably,
Mm,
they want maybe 4 months in advance. It's a whole new ball game now than it was even 5 years ago. The industry has really shifted.
right. What's it like? I'll ask this question. I'm going to punt it back to Evil because I know he's a bass player, so I know he's probably got some gearhead type questions for you. But what's it like for you to now experience the digital age as far as digital? I know we talked about CDs; those have been in existence for decades, but more of the
Hmm.
streaming thing. How is that for you? And are you accepting of the new digital age?
Oh,
It
we lost
kicks
your mic there, Ruben.
it kicks my butt, this
Yep.
technology. I mean,
Yeah.
I updated my phone 3 weeks ago. I
Right.
think it's a 13 Pro Max or something
Right.
like that. Weighs a ton, barely fit in your shirt pocket, and it's kicking my butt. And the same with, anything digital. I just did not grow up with that technology. Best thing to do is just get a 12-year-old kid and say, "How do you do this?" And they go, "Oh, it's easy. Click, click, there you go." I always say it's easy because
Right.
they grew up with it. But it's challenging for me, I can tell you that.
Right. Do you
But
stream
we still
music?
record our own way. We're all in the studio at the same
Right.
time,
Yeah.
same room,
Mhm.
with the drums, and we have the amps maybe in rooms with glass doors. So you can hear
Mhm.
a little bit of that bleed, and that helps give more of a live sound because it's still cranking through Marshalls. And I was playing through an SVT rig
Mhm.
and decided to try my little Sands amp. You can hold that Sands amp in the palm of your hand.
Mhm.
And so I eliminated the amp in the studio, just went direct, little box, little square box,
Yep.
get all the tone you want. But live, I still like the big SVTs, with the two 810 cabinets. Because on stage, you want that hitting you right in the back.
Well,
It
Absolutely.
makes you want to play even harder. The louder, the better. We
Yeah.
don't go
That's
around with little tiny amplifiers.
yeah.
It's always Marshall
So
stacks and SVT.
yeah, and so my question to you was going to be at this point in time, with all you've been through in your musical career, do you find yourself more up for the studio, or do you find yourself still getting more up for the live gigs?
All live.
Yeah.
I think 95% of musicians would say the same thing.
Mhm.
It's great to record and you can hear everything crystal clear. Because when you get on stage and you've got that wall of amps behind you and the drummer right in the middle, and you feel and hear that thunder, oh, live's where it's at. We live to play
Absolutely.
live.
Well, and that style of music you do with the guitar solos and it has to have the volume. You have to have
Yeah,
the thump,
exactly.
otherwise, yeah.
Hmm.
I was trying to explain to my 12-year-old son that the Beatles were an anomaly because they were a recording band and that's all they really did. They did very few tours. And I said most
Pretty
bands are
much, yeah.
live bands, yeah. And he was not understanding that. I was like, no, the Beatles didn't really, but they're obviously sold a lot of records, but they weren't the kind of band that gets in front of you at a bar and throws down live, which is the way I like to see my music. So
Yeah. My favorite band still to this day,
yeah.
Beatles.
Absolutely. Yeah,
nice.
because they
Changed
who
my
this is
life.
yeah the songs they wrote. Absolutely.
Oh my
So
God. I tried to write 20 songs a day sometimes. I can't even wrap my head around that. I mean, there's no telling how many they have in the vault that we'll never hear. I doubt. You know.
mhm. And
Probably some masterpieces.
oh absolutely just unfinished business basically that they'll never be able
Yeah.
to get to I guess at this point. So for you also, how are the cruises? How do you enjoy the cruise action? Do you the
Well,
people being intermingling with the people? Is that something you enjoy doing,
absolutely
or do
no.
you?
It's
Okay.
so fan friendly. everybody's there for one reason, and that's to rock out. So there's usually about 20 bands average, and we each do 3 shows in the 4 days, and we do a meet and greet and a photo op, and we don't stay in our cabins. We're always out walking around the boat, and everybody's very respectful, but they're not afraid to come up and talk because they know that we like to do that. So we're forever signing bar napkins, anything they can hand you that you can scribble
Right.
your autograph on. And just that one-on-one. And there's usually about 4,000 patrons. I don't know how many that boat holds, but the bands that have crews, there's 15, 20 people in their entourage. We have one roadie. It makes it easy for us.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
And I'm
just
sure
a wonderful experience.
you probably get a lot of Blackfoot albums coming your way to get autographed, I would imagine. This
Yeah,
is their chance.
sometimes. Sure do.
Yeah, that's cool.
Wow.
Always a
Well, there's
pleasure.
anyone out there
Yeah.
watching and listening on this, there's your opportunity if you want to get closer
Right.
to the bands. And I'm saying just the quality of the
Mhm.
show and the actual access to it and where you're going to
Mhm.
be in terms of seeing the stage and being
Oh
right there.
yeah,
That's,
we
yeah.
love nothing more than to shake hands and have photos taken and sign anything they want signed. Without them, we wouldn't even be there. That's how I look at it.
Right.
Without an audience, we'd just be a band playing to ourselves.
Mhm.
So yeah, it's a pleasure to do it. Privilege.
Well, that's awesome.
Right. Oh, I was
Ruben, you
waiting
got
to see
something?
if he had any. I was
No?
just going to ask
Go ahead.
Greg, who was the first famous musician you met, and what was that experience like, and how did that potentially shape how you intermingle and treat fans?
Wow. I think I think I was in maybe the 9th or 10th grade, and I met Bobby Goldsboro. Bet you haven't heard that name in
No,
decades.
no.
He had a big hit song. I think one real monster hit. That's the first one that comes to mind.
Okay.
And then in 1969, when I originally formed Blackfoot, by 1970, my gosh, we were playing with everybody. We went from
Hmm.
clubs to bigger venues, and we met people. That's when we met Nugent.
Oh, wow.
We're still friends. He called me a few weeks ago, and we talked for a while. But we toured a lot with him in the '70s. Uh, Peter Frampton, we did the Frampton Comes Alive tour for I don't know 50 shows or something like that.
Wow.
Awesome.
Um, Mountain was the first real big band. We'd been together less than a year at that time. Man, what a band! My God, everybody calls that riff Leslie plays. That was the first heavy metal riff of all time. That da 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 da.
Yeah,
It's
right.
Mississippi
Yeah.
Swing.
Nice.
Not too many people play like Leslie West. As soon as he
Mm-mm.
starts playing guitar, you know who that is.
Right.
And sweetheart of a guy. When we were staying in touch not long before he passed away, all those years. Really nice
Mhm.
guy.
Right. Nice. Out of curiosity, Greg, I mean, I know a few years back, I don't know if this is still the case, but there was a point, I think, where there was an all new lineup of Blackfoot. I think to me, it seemed like people in their 20s. I don't know. They could have been guys in their 30s or whatever. What's your take on that? Because, when you see something
Excuse me,
like
yeah.
that, it's like Foreigner, right? It's like Foreigner with, all new lineup and no one from the classic lineup.
Foreigners pulled it off very well, though. They found the right players to step
Mhm.
in. Yeah, that era you're talking about, I was not part of that at
Right.
all.
Right.
And I saw a few photos and heard short clips here and there. And great musicians. I mean, wonderful guitar player. I mean, anybody that played in the band was a great musician. But a band that had been together for so long, like us, you can't just step in. Somebody commented to me one time, you can't take a guy from Cleveland and expecting to play Sweet Home Alabama like it's played down
Yeah.
here. You know what I mean? I
Sure.
never
Yeah,
thought
yeah, yeah.
about that. I said, you're right. It's the fabric that you've grown up in that kind of molds your musical taste a lot of times. So that was when the guy told me that, I said, I never thought about that. You're absolutely correct.
Right.
You'd be a better guitar player, but it wouldn't sound the same. But I didn't follow that new incarnation of Blackfoot. I know it was out there for a long time. And again, I I know there was I knew a few of the musicians personally, phenomenal players, but it didn't quite sound like Blackfoot did prior to that. It's kind of
Right.
understandable. It's really hard.
Sure. Are there any bands out there that have caught your attention that you think are really doing something uh, worthwhile and different?
Nowadays,
Yeah.
um,
Or maybe
I heard the
newer, like
Georgia
within the last
Thunderbolts.
decade. Yeah, within the last decade, I
Yeah,
guess
I heard
that's
the
still considered.
Georgia Thunderbolts I listened to. And in fact, I was in my room and I heard they were playing Wishing Well. I said, well, who's
Oh,
doing that?
wow.
Because we still do that in our set. Guys sang the crap out of it too, man. It was great.
Nice.
And Robert John and the Wreck, we've got to know those guys pretty good. They're making a lot of noise.
Okay.
Um, but in the last 10 years, I don't think I could recall any band that's really caught my attention.
Mm-hmm.
All through the 90s and until now, it's a lot different from what we have been playing since, way back in the day. They're a lot younger. I mean,
Right.
every generation has its day, but nobody's really. I saw Blackberry Smoke a
Yeah.
few months ago. What a well rehearsed band! They put on a fantastic show. I mean, the
Right.
presentation and everything. It's more country rock.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
I don't think anybody can do it better.
You know,
That's a great band.
it's interesting you bring them up, because I think with them, there's something about the live show versus listening to an album. I think in the live setting, it's like, man, it just like, for some reason, for me anyway, it's just like
Yeah,
that's where they shine. And it's like the songs are good, the records are
exactly.
good,
Yeah.
but man, live, it's just like they just blow the roof off.
Yeah, like the earlier question, live versus studio, live always, because you got the
Right.
energy, you got the adrenaline, you got the crowd, and you feed off of that.
That's
No,
definitely a good
I'm right with
example.
you.
Yeah. I don't know if
As a
you got
bass player,
anything. Yeah.
the studio to me is kind of, I mean, I'll go do it because that's going to get me back to playing shows, but it's the gigs as a bass. I mean, as a bass player, the studio is cool. You cut your bass track, but you can do that in a day and you're out of this door. And then these guys are in here fiddling around with guitars and vocals forever. And so live to me though is where it's at because people are in front of you. The energy's there
Yeah.
between you and the guys, and you can feel it in the room, and it makes you want to get up and do something. And so, yeah.
Bass
Um,
players don't get much respect sometimes, like you say, especially recording. Once you do the basic track, you're done.
yeah.
And then there's three
And
weeks of massive guitar overdubs and you know,
vocals and mixing and
and
things
you
going
just sit
on.
there
And
twiddling your fingers but you want to be there nonetheless.
yeah, you still want to have your eye on what's going on. I'm the kind of guy that sneaks out for my doobie out back while they're doing what they're doing, and I come check in when they got some tracks actually cut. But
Yeah.
yeah, but I'm same way. Ampeg SVT for sure is what I use live. Ampeg pretty
Oh
much
yeah.
gear is what I use on the road. I'm a Spectre bass player myself, but I saw you were playing a Gibson. It looked like an EB or something, and you
Yeah,
had a
AB3. Yeah, I
yeah, that
just
looked
got it
awesome.
about maybe a year and a half ago
Hmm.
just to try it. And I've been playing Dean guitar since 2004, and
Hmm.
they've been very, very kind to me.
Hmm.
You can't see it here, but I've got a wall full of basses and acoustics and dobros, all that stuff. I got from them. But I tried this SG, and I love that mud bucket pickup, they call it, up by the neck. It's real bassy,
Hmm.
but you put that switch in the middle, and it gives you the brightness of the bridge pickup.
Hmm.
And last year, the first time I played it in rehearsal, after the very first song, Lance Lopez, when we ended, he said, "Dude," he said, "that bass sounds killer. You just changed the sound of the band." I'm like, "I did?" Like, yeah. No, it did. It's a different tone and
Well,
easy to play.
yes, very friendly to play, and you're
I
it.
wish that Dean made something similar,
Mhm,
with that same size neck,
mhm.
but they don't,
Yeah.
at least not yet.
Well, I mean, if a Gibson EB was good enough for Jack Bruce, I think it's probably good enough for a lot of us other bass players out there.
Yeah.
It's one of those basses that you can do rock, you could do blues, you could do this, you could do that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I had an EBO one time, I think EBO or EB1. It was a
mhm,
violin shape, solid body. It looked just like a fiddle. And it had to paint it on F holes. But it had a raised chocolate brown pick guard and the brown barrel knobs and banjo tuners. Heavy, my gosh, it was in 1958.
mhm.
I wish I had that bass today. I mean, it'd be worth a fortune. I traded a Dan Armstrong plexiglass bass even for it.
Hmm.
Remember those?
Yeah, yeah,
The clear
yeah.
plexiglass. That was kind of almost an SG shape,
Hmm.
but it's a Dan Armstrong was the manufacturer.
Yeah. There was like a
God, I wish I had that other bass. Wow.
Yeah, the first one I ever was learning in high school, they gave me a Gibson Ripper to play in the jazz band, and that thing was a tank, and it had so much neck dive. It was
Yeah,
impossible to play. It was just like just
like the
constantly,
Thunderbirds.
yeah, it just goes right down.
I had some of
Uh,
the 60 models Thunderbirds,
yeah,
and one of mine took a nosedive and cracked the headstock just
mhm,
like that.
yeah,
Same with the Firebirds.
hmm,
They're notorious for
yeah.
that.
Beautiful guitars, and when they're around your neck playing on
Hmm.
stage at that moment, you're fine. It's if you let go at any moment, it's gonna go on you, and yeah, so.
Oh, you can't
No,
let
yeah,
go
it's
of it.
just gonna
Mhm.
every time. Well, yeah, well, that's cool. And so you're going to be on the cruise. What are, do you know what the dates of the cruise are next year for those? I mean, a lot
Let's
of people like,
see. I believe it's February 24th or 5th. It
okay.
leaves on a Monday and comes back on a Friday. Somewhere around, I can't remember the exact dates. I had that printed out somewhere. Somewhere around the
At the
26th,
end
I
of
want to
February.
say.
Okay. Yeah, because I mean, at this point in time, I tell people all the time, at my age, I'm 47. I no longer want to go to a festival where I have to stand there all day to watch all these bands and muck
I
through all these
know.
people. The cruise seems like a much better option where you can pick and choose where you want to see them, when you want to see them.
Yeah.
You got places to take a break, places to get something to eat, to rest your feet, so forth.
Yeah. I'd like to say every band plays 3 shows.
Yeah.
So you look at the lineup and everything's, provided in your room and you can go down column by column, go, I want to see these guys, but this band's playing at the same time. Oh, but they're playing tomorrow. So if you plan it accordingly, I don't think you can see every single band. Maybe if you see half of a band here and there, like half the
Hmm.
set,
Yeah.
but got so much to choose from. And there's usually about 3 bands that nobody's really heard of. That's what I love about Naha is it's a good way for a band to get some exposure, especially if they're really good. And a lot of times they get invited back the next year.
Well, that's cool.
I mean, like I said, next year will be my 13th one.
Wow.
I
Well,
guess I'm doing something right.
yeah.
I think I'm
You're
signing the most autographs.
and you're a veteran. This process in and out of these things easy by now. It's like it's old hat to you.
Yeah. I don't get off the boat at the ports. And, I
Mm.
did the first couple of times, and they all have palm trees and white sand and turquoise water. It's beautiful, but it's nothing but tourist shops.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. They just want your money.
Yeah.
Yeah. Once you've seen them one time, then after that, you just stay on the boat by the pool or get something to eat and wait for
We're
everybody to
in
come
the
back.
in the casino. That's kind of our hangout
Yeah. There you go. Yeah.
because we get drinks
Yeah.
and everybody knows that's where we hang out. So they kind of gravitate, our loyal fans anyway, which grow
Yeah.
every year. Say, I know where
That's
to
cool.
find them tonight or today. We're staying there for hours sometimes. But a lot of bands don't do that. They finish the show, they have escorts back to their cabins. They have their food brought to their cabins, and next time they come out is the next day when they have to go play. I'm
Right.
like, what a sorry life. We're out walking around, way before we
Right.
play, pretty much all day and night, except the 90 minutes on stage. We're always available. We don't
Right.
sleep much. You
Yeah.
sleep when you're dead, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Plenty of time for that later.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been on some a handful of those cruises. Not that one in particular, but it does seem like there are some of the talent that lock themselves up, and it's almost like they're hostage. They hold themselves hostage. I don't know how much fun that would be for any money, right? I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, we're getting paid for it, but it just seems like kind of miserable to a degree.
Everybody tells me that, like yourself, you've been on other cruise lines, rock cruises. Um, and a lot of people that go on Rock Legends cruise have been on like
Hmm.
Monsters of Rock
Yeah,
cruise,
those are the ones I've been
Metal
on.
cruise,
Yep.
Skynyrd cruise, and they all come back and say nothing is as good as Rock Legends cruise.
See, now you're
Yeah,
selling me on wanting to go to this one.
yeah, it's fan friendly for one thing, and everybody has a great time. They just want to rock.
Right. Sounds good.
You
Oh
should
man.
check that out sometime.
Yeah, I will check out the lineup. I mean, I know the past couple. I mean, there's been some great talent on those. So yeah, I mean, one of these days I'm gonna have to do it. Especially now that you're pitching this. The 13
Yeah,
year veteran. Jeez.
and for me as well.
Yeah.
And I found this out early on, starting the first one. Um, it's kind of a musician's family reunion because I've been in this business a long time, and I'll run into people I haven't seen in 30, 40 years, and we just start catching up and reminiscing and start swapping stories. And I'm shocked at the memory some of them have. They go like, "Hey, remember that time we played in Prestonburg, Kentucky, in the gymnasium because they didn't have a building big enough in the little town?" That was John in Kansas. He
Oh,
said, "Remember they had to fold the bleachers up, push them back against the walls. That was the biggest venue in the whole town. There was everything from kindergarten, or actually babies, to great grandparents.
oh
I mean, the whole
wow.
town showed up. We had to do 2 shows, and I did remember that one. And then I'll talk to others. They'll mention a gig we did in Europe somewhere. And as soon as they say it, I go, yeah, now that you say it, I do remember that. So we get to hang out. And, the brotherhood of musicians, in my case, is just incredible. Made a lot of good friends. And I look up to those bands too. I mean, I'm a fan.
Yeah, and anybody ever come up to you and go, "Hey, Greg, remember that $50 you owe me?"
No, I haven't had that happen, thank God.
So
Just
all those years ago, I have a question here. So you
Okay.
started, so how old were you when you picked up the bass guitar, Greg?
18.
18. And then
The
how
last
old
thing
were
I
you
learned to
when,
play.
how old were you when you got your platinum record with Blackfoot?
Let's see, it went gold in 79, the year it
Hmm.
came out, and
Hmm.
it wasn't too many years later it went platinum. I've
Hmm.
got it on the wall here.
nice.
And
But
between that
bass was the
stretch,
last thing I learned to play because um, I got a ukulele at 5 years old.
Mm.
My mother
Mhm.
got for me. I got where I could play, 2 notes at a time, then three. It's only 4 strings. Then at
Mhm.
6, I began piano lessons. And at the age of 10, we formed our first play for pay band, like in the school cafeteria. And that was Ricky Medlock and Jackson Spires. We
Mm.
were the Rockin'
Wow.
Aces. And then eight
Wow.
years later, the three of us formed Blackfoot, with Charlie Hardwick as the other guitar
Mhm.
player.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't remember ever not being a musician since I was just a kid. But when I formed Blackfoot, I almost formed something that got me out of the band. And I said, well, who's, had the drummer, the guitar players, we had a keyboard player the first year. And I said, well, who's going to play bass? And they said, you are. I said, I never played bass. They said, well, it's about time you learned. You played everything else, and now it's time to pick up bass. I went, cool. So I became a bass player real quick on a Hofner bass.
Wow.
That belonged to
Right
Ricky,
on.
actually, because he'd play bass in a band.
Raise your horn!